Fabrizio Romano has come out and dropped a Manchester United update on Antonio Silva, the centre-back we're looking at, as well as a potential Jadon Sancho replacement at right wing. Manchester United have been linked by a few people today to Pedro Neto, and a few sources saying United are looking at him as the right winger to replace Jadon Sancho in January. Fabrizio Romano has addressed these rumours and given the latest on Neto to United, and I will discuss my opinion on that and Antonio Silva. But before I get into that news, I want to get into the leaks that have come out on Lisandro Martinez's injury and go on a little bit of a rant about that, because the leaks are horrific. Making someone play with a non-healed broken foot, this goes down to incompetence right at the top of the club, and we're going to quickly get into my rant and more. So if you're not aware, it was basically said by Chris Wheeler that Lisandro Martinez will have a second operation on his broken metatarsal on Monday after suffering a setback in his return from injury. That was said by Chris Wheeler. It was then updated that Martinez took painkillers to play in the subsequent games against Brighton and Bayern Munich, and further tests on Thursday revealed that the fracture has not healed correctly. It was then confirmed that Martinez will be absent for 2 to 3 months, with it looking more like 3 months. And the worst part about this is this could have been avoided. We have an injury crisis. Injuries happen in football. Sometimes injuries can't be avoided. But this is a situation where we were making a guy play with painkillers who hadn't recovered from a broken foot. We're wondering when he's playing why he's playing bad, but now he's just going to be out until Christmas time. With Varane, who will get injured next week, we can't afford to have Martinez out for that long, because Varane's the type of guy who's fit for 4 weeks, he's injured for 4 weeks, he's fit for 4 weeks, he's injured for 4 weeks. Martinez is now out until Christmas, and it's just so frustrating, because we've also got Luke Shaw out who can play left centre back, and we are probably going to be switching between Maguire, Evans, and Lindelof for quite a bit. Now, I do want to get into the transfer news, but I want to show you my rant on this. I said the injury crisis at Man United is escalating, and the most concerning aspect is that many of these injuries have been caused or worsened by mismanagement and neglect of all departments from the ownership. Now, this is why I mean it's partly on the ownership. Lisandro Martinez has been playing with a broken foot, which never properly healed, relying on painkillers. Surprisingly, the issue was either cleared or not picked up by the medical staff. This has made his injury much worse. Martinez is now out for more than 3 months, a situation that could have been prevented. In 18 years of Glazer ownership, there's been no significant improvement in infrastructure, facilities, or staff. Ronaldo even exposed this by saying that we still have the same team and facilities as we did in 2003 when he first joined, expressing shock at the lack of upgrades and developments of Manchester United in their training ground. The owners have not seen fit to invest in a sports science department or upgrade medical facilities, just like the state of Old Trafford, which has been deteriorating. I'm not sure if you've seen those videos circulating, but there's leaks going around Old Trafford left, right, and centre. The training facilities and medical department have been entirely neglected. Ten Hag reportedly wanted to bring in Ajax head of performance and physical conditioning, Alessandro Schoenmaker, to Manchester United, but the Glazers retained the original fitness staff instead. Ten Hag aimed for a more intense style of football than what players experienced under Ole and Jose, and sought the right coaches and rehabilitation team, but for the support of this, but he was denied. Basically, Ten Hag wanted to bring in certain coaches who were more used to playing and training players to play in a high-intensity style, but he wasn't allowed this. We have to have the same coaches that played a low-intensity style under Jose. I said, look, I'm going to take into account the fact that most of the injuries are muscular rather than contact injuries, and muscular injuries are often a result of poor training regimes. And I said, while injuries are inevitable in sport, many of these seem to be a result of mismanagement of player injuries, inadequate training regimes, because we didn't get the right people into training, even though Ten Hag requested that, and outdated staff and facilities with ill-equipped for the demands of modern football. I think the way the modern game is, it's a lot more demanding than it was 20 years ago, when we've not changed anything in 20 years as well. Well, many of our injuries would have happened regardless. The Martinez injury is something that could have been avoided by those at the very top of the club, had they actually managed the club properly, actually invested money into making sure that our sports science department, our medical department was top of the range. But just like everything else at Manchester United, they've neglected that for years on years. So that was my little rant on it. And look, I'm not saying that the Glazers are to blame for all the injuries, but I think the mismanagement at the top has not helped. I think, poor training regimes, poor facilities, poor medical staff, that all comes from those at the top who employ them. And they, you know, when the club is run badly from top to bottom, those things happen. Now, Manchester United have been linked with Pedro Neto, and a few sources have actually come out and said that United want to sign Pedro Neto. Romano said in an exclusive that you know, Pedro Neto is a potential opportunity for United to replace Sancho with. Now, some sources are coming out, like Ficheas, whatever it's called, I don't know how you pronounce the name, basically saying, yeah, Man United are going to get Pedro Neto, yeah, Man United are going to get Pedro Neto to replace Sancho in January, all of that. But Romano's kind of debunked that rumour a little bit, and Romano's just said on this, he said, on Sancho at the moment, there's no significant update to report. Sancho was obviously spotted with Kobe Mainoo in training, but he's not apologised yet. Romano said there's not a real update on Sancho, and he says that he's not aware of any potential new winger signing in January. So despite reports coming out that Manchester United have identified Pedro Neto to replace Jadon Sancho in January, Romano said he's not sure. He said there are many good opportunities around, such as Pedro Neto, who I've already mentioned, who is a fantastic player, but it's absolutely not guaranteed that United will spend big money in January. So Romano said that Pedro Neto will be available. I'm sure United are looking at that. So are Arsenal, so are lots of clubs. But he said, you know, there's no guarantee that Manchester United will be able to spend that kind of money in January. I think, look, what happens with us in January depends on the owners. Are the Glazers still here? But also, it massively depends on many things, what happens in January. It depends on how much money we make through sales. Which players do we lose? I think we need a midfielder. I think we need a centre-back. And I think we need a right winger in January, or at least someone that can help out Højlund. I think we need 3 signings in January. I think we need 7 signings in the summer, because I think we're such a mess at the moment. But he said Pedro Neto is an option, but he said that he hasn't heard too much on it. So there were a few reports coming out that United have identified Pedro Neto to replace Sancho in January. But Romano says, again, being realistic, in January, Man United getting Pedro Neto, it's not guaranteed because of money, which makes sense as well. But a player we might be getting in the summer, not January, because this is way too much money to spend in January, is Antonio Silva. Now, for me, he is the perfect centre-back that Manchester United can go for. And Fabrizio Romano even provided an update on this guy. And Fabrizio Romano just said that Man United will keep tracking Antonio Silva after scouting the Benfica wonder kid several times. Romano has confirmed multiple times, we really like this guy, we like Todibo, we like Tapsoba, but we seem to be very much scouting Antonio Silva, which I'm a big fan of. Antonio Silva actually, in his most recent appearance versus FC Porto, who's probably one of the best teams in the Portuguese league, had 73 touches, completed 57 out of 62 passes, which is over 90% accuracy. From centre-back, he made 5 passes into the final third. He won all 3 of his tackles, 3 out of 4 ground duels, which is 75% won, and won all of his aerial duels as well. He's a fantastic player. And I haven't watched much Benfica this season, but I did watch a lot of them last season, and his on-the-ball qualities and defensive qualities impressed me at such a young age. He's only 19 years of age, and I think that Ethan Talks pretty much summed this up quite well as why he could be Varane's successor. He said Antonio Silva has the on and off ball qualities, timing and engagement in duels, breaks lines, capable of defending on the back foot plus front foot, progressive carrier, strong in the air, evasive of the press, top spatial awareness, comfortable in wide spaces, and has a transferable role to Erik ten Hag. To Erik ten Hag's Manchester United by already playing right centre-back in a free in build-up for Benfica, who also hybrid of German-Dutch principles under Roger Schmidt, precisely like Erik ten Hag. So basically, he speaks about Antonio Silva and his on-the-ball qualities. Ethan's very intelligent, knows a lot more about Antonio Silva than me. And he says, look, he's got good qualities on the ball and off the ball. As I've said, I know he's good at breaking lines and all of that, but he's saying the way he's playing, you know, we've seen Man United sort of out of position try to go to a back 3, whether it's Kobe Mainoo dropping deep, whether it's Amrabat going in. And he's saying that the way we're playing, he's quite used to playing like that at Benfica, which is why he'd be a good player for United. Also, you've got to remember he's only 19. However, what sense Antonio Silva, apart from names he has mentioned with, is he's in that age group of 19. To be 19, and he said, look, his mental qualities look superior, you know, and I think he's absolutely superior as well. What happened? A bit of history. Came into an injury-ridden Benfica side at just 18 years of age, played against Europe's elites such as PSG and did flawlessly, establishing a first-team place in Benfica, winning Liga Portugal's Defender of the Month in his first consistent run. And I have to say, Benfica last year were amazing. Like, that's one of the best Portuguese sides I've ever seen Benfica last year. And he was a big part of that as centre-back as well. He became the youngest ever centre-back to represent Portugal at the World Cup, was a key figure in a title-winning campaign and deep Champions League run at Benfica. And he has shown defensive capability to deal with pressure and take it in a stride. at a club where the lights shine the brightest, like Manchester United, this is a crucial aspect of examination when deciding who your centre-back for the foreseeable future is going to be. He's got a release clause. We know he's great on the ball. We know he's great defensively. And it's just his age to be that good at 19. You know, he's been praised for his mentality and all of that. And to be such an integral part of that Benfica side at such a young age, Antonio Silva would be brilliant. Diamonde and Antonio Silva, two really good options out there. Manchester United, in my opinion, need two centre-backs. They need a long-term Martinez cover for his injuries. They need Antonio Silva to replace Varane. We need a long-term Casemiro replacement. We need someone like Palacios that can replace Eriksen, that can help massively and build up, because we keep avoiding the midfield and build up. We need probably a right winger, and we need probably a striker. And you can even argue a right back, but I don't think that's a priority. But we need 6 positions that need to be addressed. And I think we should go and address at least 2 of them in January, so we can go into the summer with only 4 to address. But that's not going to happen unless we have new owners. Thank you for watching today's video. Please do smash that like button. Of course, subscribe down below if you're new. There was a few takeover stories coming out today, but I didn't really want to cover it. I'll touch upon that on my live stream tonight, as well as other things. Thank you for watching, and bye.